Imagine being treated like royalty up in the air, having 3 cabin crew members there just to take care of you. All your whims satisfied like this, all the while you're relaxing in your own spacious cocoon, sipping some fancy wine and eating some caviar. Sounds amazing, right? Well, this was actually my recent experience flying Air India from London Heathrow to Bombay, India on their 777-300ER, which is actually an ex-Etihad aircraft. This is going to be part 2 of my video series of me traveling from Toronto, Canada to Bombay, India. Part 1 talked about my business class experience on Air Canada's 787-9 traveling from Toronto to London Heathrow, and this video is part 2 of the same series of me traveling from London Heathrow to Bombay. Without wasting any more time, let's get straight into it. After landing at London Heathrow, I headed straight to Air Canada's Maple Leaf Lounge, which is a business class lounge. I did have access to a couple other lounges like the Lufthansa lounge and another, I forgot which one that was, but this one was the most accessible and I saw some pretty good reviews about it online. So I made my way there. This Maple Leaf Lounge was way better than what I had seen back in Toronto. Just bigger, more spacious, much lesser people, and I would say a better selection of food, if not a bigger selection of food and drinks. I found this really nice little cocoon at one corner of the lounge, which had like a nice view of the airfield, and I could see a bunch of airplanes just coming and going. So I decided to station myself there. Yep, after freshening up, I decided to get some food. They had some pretty good selection of breakfast food because I was going to the lounge during breakfast time. So you found like the traditional English breakfast things like your English sausages, your hash browns, and just scrambled eggs, etc. I decided to get some sausages, bacon, some hash brown, and a chocolate Danish. I also got this thing called the croffle because they had a separate croffle station. Croffle, if you don't know, is like a croissant and a waffle. I know it sounds weird, but tastes fantastic. So they made it fresh for me. I got that as well. And the food was overall really nice. I did enjoy it. I did pair it with some coffee afterwards as well. I refrained from drinking any alcohol because I already had like I think 2 wine glasses back in my previous Air Canada flight, and I had a bunch of fancy drinking to do on my first class flight as well. So I refrained from touching any alcohol in the lounge. While sitting in the cocoon, I actually also spotted an Air India aircraft and its new livery. This feels like such a modern and nice upgrade to Air India's old livery, which was so outdated and, to be honest, ugly. 3 hours went by like this, just through eating and getting my work done. It was time for boarding. Boarding was really smooth. I was actually one of the first people on board. I was greeted very warmly by the cabin crew. I was even greeted by name. Then I was shown to my seat. The cabin crew, they introduced themselves, who they are and who all will be taking care of me, which was, I would say, a really nice personal touch to it. As you can see, the seat was very wide and really spacious. You would have absolutely no problem being comfortable in this small cocoon in the air. This aircraft was on the older side, maybe 10 plus years old, so there were signs of wear and tear, as you can see on the B-roll on the screen at the moment. Also, there was this giant ottoman on the other side, so you could have someone join you for food, for chilling, or just chit-chatting. The one thing that really surprised me was that there were no overhead cabins in first class. All you would expect to do was store your luggage under the ottoman or somewhere else on the side where there were like some spaces. But I was actually one of the only people in first class that flight. So I decided to give my bags a first class treatment and I put them on the neighboring first class seat so that even they travel in style. The cabin crew immediately came in and offered a nice welcome drink and hot towel for freshening up. Afterwards, I played around a bit with the IFE screen. As you can see, it was really far away, and because of that, the IFE screen was not touchscreen. There was like a small remote thing in the cubby that you would lift up, get it, and play around. As the aircraft was old, the remote itself was quite old. It did get a bit used to by just playing around a bit, just to understand how to use it properly, and after which it became fine to use. Air India has a really good selection of movies, TV shows across all over the world, so you would have no problem keeping yourself occupied throughout the entire duration of the flight if you want to see just movies or TV shows throughout the flight. The cabin crew came and brought with them the amenity kits. I was really impressed with the presentation of the amenity kits. It was from Ferragamo. I remember Air India used to give out Tumi amenity kits, but seems like they have changed to Ferragamo. There was like a nice covering outside from which you pull the pouch out, and there was nicely laid out inside all the necessary amenities like lip balms, hand creams, socks, eye masks, and I really like the touch where they also gave a Ferragamo perfume in there. I really like that. I was also given noise cancelling headphones, which were extremely comfortable as opposed to the ones I was given on my Air Canada business class flight, which I felt were quite uncomfortable. I also took a quick takeoff video, so I'll play that next. Takeoff, and after the seatbelt signs were switched off by the captain, I decided to head to the restroom or the lavatory to check it out. I was surprised. It was a really spacious lavatory, decently clean, but one thing that really surprised me was just how many mirrors there were in the lavatory. I mean, you could admire yourself from every direction while taking a dump if you wanted to. As usual, I did admire myself and did a quick physique check and lighting check. The cabin crew had also handed out menus before takeoff. As you can see, first class is a completely dine on demand option where you can get anything from the menu how many ever times you want and whenever you want. You don't have to follow a fixed dining schedule. I initially decided to start myself off with a glass of white Bordeaux. I decided to skip on the warm nuts because I already had quite a few on my previous flight, and I did not want to fill myself up with that because I was genuinely looking forward to enjoying the food on board this aircraft. For appetizer, I decided to get the salmon appetizer with the salmon caviar. It did not look as great, but it tasted really nice. I like that they had like a Western dish as opposed to just having Indian dishes on board, because that's what I've seen with Air India, that they usually just give out Indian food. But I like that they had quite a few options on business and first class. For the main, I got the chicken chettinad with okra, rice and paratha. I kid you not, this was probably the best meal I've ever had on an aircraft. It was extremely flavorful and just hit all the right spots. I would say it was like top restaurant quality Indian food. For the dessert menu, there were 2 dessert options, a fruit plate and a cheese plate. I decided to get both the desserts, because why not? And both of them were amazing. The first one was a chocolate and caramel truffle tart, and the second one was an Indian dessert, the Rajbhog Malai sandwich. Both were absolutely fantastic. All the while with the food, I continued drinking my white Bordeaux, even had it topped up maybe once, if not twice, if I remember correctly. After my meal, I did enjoy a movie. Afterwards, I started feeling sleepy. So the seat that I was actually on had a bit of a trouble with the doors closing. So I talked to the cabin crew, and they happily moved me to the seat behind me, which was 2K. I was sitting on 1K and they moved me to 2K. And before I could even move, they completely set up the bed and everything. It was done so well. I was so impressed. And yeah, the next was just going and sleeping. Once all the doors were shut and all the lights were dimmed, they had like a really nice starry night thing going on the top of the aircraft. So it felt as if you're sleeping under a night sky. So there's a really good touch to it. I did decide to read my book, Fyodor Dostoevsky's Crime and Punishment, before going to sleep. I spent like 20-30 minutes doing some light reading. Afterwards, I slept and had such a nice and comfortable sleep. I think I slept maybe around 3.5-4 hours, after which I woke up and actually put a small alarm for myself because I wanted to get up and have more food. I did not want to skimp on the food this flight, especially because I was so impressed with the mains. I wanted to try the snacks immediately. So as soon as I woke up, that's what I got. I decided to order two things, the chicken tikka slider and the grilled paneer squares. But the cabin crew also suggested that I try the chicken katsu because apparently it was really good. So I was like, why not? And I got the third thing as well. So as you can see, it's the chicken tikka slider, the paneer thing, and the chicken katsu with the katsu mayonnaise, paired with the saffron kheer for dessert. And I also decided to get a glass of a Sauvignon Blanc. Again, the meal was absolutely fantastic. I was blown away with just how tasty this stuff was. Throughout all my flying history, I've never had food this good on board, even in previous business classes. So throughout my journey, while I was watching a movie or reading a book, I did get hungry here and there, and they had a pretty good selection of cold snacks as well. So I always got some coffee, a fruit plate as well, and the fruits were so fresh and juicy. I was actually blown away even with just the fruit plate. A couple hours afterwards, I also got another coffee and a tub of caramel popcorn. The caramel popcorn was kind of average. I couldn't finish it. It was like too sweet for me. But I did really like the fact that they did have options. They also had like a pretty big selection of snacks in the galley, but I already had so much hot snacks and food that I did not really want to waste my calories on these cold snacks. And throughout the entire flight, I was just so impressed with Air India's soft product, which is their service. Everyone was just super friendly, warm, and took really good care of me. As soon as I pressed the call attendant button, someone came within 10 seconds. So all my whims were satisfied like this. I had like a small conversations with a bunch of the cabin crew as well, just to see where they're from, what they do, and everything. That was a nice personal touch again to my experience. Also like to give a big shout out to Ashiwini, Farizeh, and Kashmiri for taking such good care of me on the flight. Overall, I was extremely satisfied with my journey on Air India's first class. The soft product, the service was absolutely fantastic. The hard product did leave some things to be desired in terms of being more modern, being more clean, or just not having that much wear and tear. But this itself was such a big upgrade over Air India's old business class. Air India historically is known to have like really shitty economy, business, and first class products, with the IFE screens not working, the seats not reclining, just sometimes having mosquitoes on board, all of that nightmares. Ever since Tata took over Air India, I see that it's going in the right direction, and I do see myself traveling a lot more frequently on Air India going forward, especially on these select routes where I know they're not using their old aircrafts, but they're using either the new A350s or these ex-Etihad lease 777s. Also, as soon as we landed, I got special treatment because there was someone to take my cabin bags all the way from the flight to the exit, and I had like special immigration access for first class passengers, so everything was just extremely smooth. Yes, so overall extremely satisfied, and I do see myself traveling on this again.